Welcome to the Kingdom Podcast, featuring Commissioner Christine King, where all voices are heard.
Today, we have a very special guest, Miss Monique Idlett Mosley. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, and congratulations. Such a moment. International Women's Day, the launch of your podcast. Congratulations.
I couldn't think of a better time to launch this podcast than during International Women's Month. So thank you for being here. I'd love to hear about your story. It's empowering. I was reading all about you, and I thought, wow, venture capitalist. First, what is a venture capitalist? Because no one knows what a venture capitalist is.
So we're investors, right? And we invest in the startup company at its earliest stage is what Rain Ventures does. But there's seed stage, there's growth stage, and then there's the late stage that the public invests in when it IPOs on Wall Street.
Okay, I understand IPOs, and that's a great definition for our viewers to understand. Now, you have a rich history of breaking ceilings, and that is a thing for women, right? For strong women such as yourself, for me as an elected official, we are competing in a male-dominated world. How did you manage that?
God.
Amen.
Literally,
Amen.
God. You know, maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, my answer would be different, like, oh, my family, oh, this part. But as I've gotten older and I'm about to be 50, it's like, actually, this whole process has been literally about my purpose. It's been about the journey, but only because of God.
Right. I completely agree, because it is through faith that I am where I am right now. It is through faith that my first campaign, I won 65% of the vote.
Wow.
Yes, and there were so many folks in that race with me and an incumbent. It was only by the grace of God and hard work.
That's right.
And I find that we have to work harder than our counterparts. Do you think so?
My whole career is based on that, is disrupting, innovating, and being the example. Most importantly, it's been about, first of all, I think that I thought I had to compete with men. And then there's this moment that happened for me personally that was, I'm actually not competing with anyone.
Right.
And so I've always been oblivious to the rooms. I've always felt like I've deserved to be in the rooms. At 22, I was the youngest executive at USA Today. I was a senior executive, and all of my colleagues were 40 and 50-year-old, for the most part, Caucasian men or Caucasian women. I was the only black executive and the youngest. And I thought that I had to be able to overwork them, do all of these things to kind of prove myself. But then you start realizing as you get older and your career goes on, it's just me versus me. And I'm literally just trying to show up as the best version of myself. But then also, I've always wanted to be the voice for the voiceless. I grew up in Perth Amboy, New Jersey, in the projects. And so that zip code, all of a sudden, as I got older, I realized it was a thing that counted us out. It was a thing that got us access to a different type of education. And I had a mother who always said, you can be anything you want to be, and your circumstances are never who you are. And
isn't that amazing? That was my mom and dad as well.
Really?
That was my mom and dad. Whatever I decided, if today I came home and said I want to be a doctor, they were like, great, good. I remember coming home and saying, I'm going to be an attorney. For them, they took a pause. I went to community college for 9 years, a 2-year for 9 years. And they were like, oh my gosh, this girl. But once I got it, I got it.
Right.
And when I came home and said, I'm going to law school, they were like, okay. But I did it. And by then I had a family and I was working. I went to the part-time evening program.
Wow.
But I did it. And you're right, I wasn't competing against anyone. I was just doing what I love.
What you love doing.
And that made it not a chore or work. And I've been fortunate through my career to be able to do what I love. And in reading your story, it seems that that is exactly what you did as well.
I was a teen mom, so at college I was a mom. By 21, my father passed, and his wife, I was in a junior, and his wife sent their 2 daughters to me, so I raised my sisters. 3 kids in college. I worked 3 jobs. I actually worked for the city of Columbus, so I was able to get some real insight the operational side of things for a city. But I think that back then, if you would ask me if I was in competition, I probably would have given the world answer, or if I felt like I was going up against a man or who had to work harder than a man. At the end of the day, this version of me now and this wiser version of me, when I look back at my story, it was really all these things had to happen. Every part of my journey, every little area, every door that I had to overcome and knock down, it was literally the blueprint that I'm able to share today. So I'm actually thankful for my journey. And yes, for the most part, even to this day, I'm still the only woman. Last week I was at the White House as a part of a task force for closing the racial wealth gap. I'm the only woman. Right? Forget black person. I'm the only woman.
The only woman
that's there representing the venture world.
Exactly.
And so the reality is that we get to choose and create the world we want. I want it to be better. I want to bring people along on my journey. And I realized that that's actually all I've ever wanted to do, is make a way so that the rest of the people coming behind me have something to follow, some information.
And that is so important, to share our stories, because one of the things that I see with young girls that are looking at us and they think we've always had it together or we've always had it easy.
I still don't have it all the way together. I have not arrived yet.
Exactly. And then I share with them, what is for you is for you. And no one can take that from you. So you don't have to worry about, this person is going to steal my job, or this person is coming after my job. Do your job and do a good job, and you'll be recognized for that. And if that job isn't for you, the next job is going to blow you away. Have faith. Have faith in the process. And that's how my career has evolved organically. And I think one of the greatest things in my career is that it's always been about service.
Yes.
Even my law career, it's about service and helping persons sometimes get through the worst part of their life. When you need a lawyer, there's some kind of trouble.
That's right.
And how you manage them and their emotions gets them to the other side of happiness, I've found. And I see that also in your career. You've had a career in the music industry. You've had a career as a mother. And women are the only ones that have to balance family, being a mom, being a daughter, being a sister. How do you handle that? Because my mom complains all the time that I don't see her enough. I don't communicate with her enough. And God bless her, she's 81 years young.
My mom too. So it's not. It's a mom thing.
So how do you? What advice would you give someone that has to manage being a career woman and a mother?
I think Michelle Obama said it best, right? We can't be everything at the same time. Right. It doesn't mean that we can't be pursuing all the same things at the same time. That's actually 2 different things. The reality is that I've always found a way, and I'm very grateful and humbled for this, is that I've always found a way to enter a room and understand that I have a unique perspective. There's 8 billion people in this world. We all have an individual, unique perspective. So there's no competition. There's only collaborative efforts. And then when you're trying to balance everything, I schedule my personal self-care time the same way I schedule meetings. And, I think during COVID, it was the first time since I was 18 when I had a child. It was the first time in my life where I actually was sitting down and didn't realize how much I was constantly moving.
Wow.
So, I was able to reset and look and find that balance intentionally. I think that we do have to balance, and I think we have to be okay that everything is not going to get done at the same time.
Right.
Right? And you have to prioritize. And the best thing I can ever tell people about how I'm able to accomplish all these things simultaneously, I delegate extremely well. Part of being a leader and building is actually creating a team of complementary skill sets. And so I take that very serious. I'm not trying to do everything. I don't want to do everything.
Right.
I want to innovate where I need to innovate, and I want to leverage my voice, but I also bring a team of people with me. And I think that's always the difference. Growing up, I think we were told that we had to be everything. In fact, I know in my community and in our particular culture in general, we've been told we don't need anyone. So we were told we had to do all of these things and doing with smiles and backhands and all these. No.
Well, I struggle with that. I have an amazing team. But I do put my hand here, My chief of staff is awesome. And she tries to schedule so that I do have that time, and I need that time.
You have to do that
because I do have anxiety, and if I do too much and I don't take care of myself, I'm just no good. And I will accept, and she's like, Madam Chair, don't do that. And they hold this out, and then I say yes, and then I think, oh my gosh, I've just extended myself, and it's going to. But I exercise a lot, and that helps keep me sane. And the person that does my social media, I don't even have it on my phone anymore, so I can't look at it.
I don't do mine either. It's too much, right?
So I can't. I've never had social media before I became a candidate, but I've never posted anything. I don't know how. But to look at it, to make sure this is spelled right, or that picture looks good, that micromanaging, I'm learning how to step back from that, but I struggle with that.
I think that we all struggle in different particular times of our lives with the idea of, especially alpha females, right? And people who want to accomplish things. But the reality is that if you can't entrust the other skill sets to other people, then there's actually no way to grow and relieve yourself. And you also have to prepare the people behind you for when you do pivot and evolve to something different.
Absolutely.
And so you do have to allow yourself that freedom. That was a really hard thing for me. When I started at USA Today, my boss actually said to me, we're going to you're going to get in trouble. We're going to fine you if you don't start using your assistants. You cannot do everything. And then
that was good.
And that was at 22.
Yes.
And so then through my career, I thought I had to handle everything. No, you don't. And in fact, that judgment is actually coming from you, not from other people.
Right.
And I think those are the things that we're not talking about.
Right.
I started thinking that it was other people that I had to be this idea of perfection. No, we're all perfectly flawed, and you need to get into it and be okay with it. And mistakes are going to be made, and that's just a fact, and that's called life. But the most empowering thing that you can do is gift your team with allowing them to do their job.
Now I'm doing that. And our motto is one band, one sound.
That's right.
But we're a new band.
It's one of my favorite movies, by the way.
We're a new band, and I tell them, I said, listen, sometimes we're going to hit a wrong note, but that's okay, because no one is perfect, and you don't become that phenomenal band without practice. And that's what we're doing. So I allow them the freedom to make mistakes.
That's right.
We can take care of anything as long as what you're doing from the heart. So I appreciate that. Now, there I'm good. I'm good with that.
Good.
Backing up, I'm getting better with backing up this journey, being an elected official and being responsible for an entire community. That's a lot of responsibility.
But you also have to look at it from a perspective of the entire community is also responsible for themselves. I think that, one of the things about elected officials is, the image, the this, the that. you can do what you can do. And thank God you're in that position. But it's reciprocity, though.
It
right?
is.
And so you do have to also enable and like really, really help them understand as a community that they have to participate in this.
And I am also trying to show them that I'm human, I'm flawed.
That's
I share
right.
with them that I'm dyslexic and what I've had to overcome.
That's right.
I can't do acronyms. I'm like, I'm going to mess this up. Even when I was campaigning, I said my punch number wrong. I did it backwards.
So what?
And I said, and I own it. So to let them know and to let people that are looking up to me, I'm human and
That's
I'm
right.
flawed. And it's okay. Now, that takes
And you're beautifully flawed. And that's what people need to understand.
perfectly flawed.
That's right.
We're perfectly flawed,
Yep.
which takes me into, I want to talk to you about Undercover Billionaire. Because I watched
I'm still recovering from that, by the way.
I watched a little bit of it, and when you showed up in that town with $100 and no place to stay, and I was like, well, where's she going to sleep? How's she going to sleep for $100? And you said, I'm going to call a church. And I thought,
My mom's a pastor.
that was, I was like, wow, yes, absolutely. And they welcomed you. The pastor paid for you to have 3 nights. Because I was like, well, how's she going to go to the Marriott on $100? Well, where's she going to live? How
It's
was
interesting because it's technically a science experiment. And there's only 4 of us in the world who've ever done it. And I said no for a long time because I just couldn't find my why. And then COVID happened. And outside of like my founders and all of our portfolio companies, I was just getting calls from the community. I have community gardens inside of the Boys and Girls Clubs. Those weren't providing enough food. And I'm like, people are at a time where I'm feeling peace and like a sit down. A lot of people are feeling depressed, overwhelmed.
Right.
They're reactive versus just, they're responding to all of this chaos instead of just thinking this through. And then some people were just downright experiencing things for our underserved communities that has been our narrative forever. And so I made a decision to say yes. I literally did not know where I was going. They do not tell you. I think it got real for me when they put me in a holding pattern for a couple days in a random city, and they went through my bags. And they took my computer, they took my credit cards, they took my they took everything from me.
See, I was thinking that, I was like, I'll just pull out my credit card. I'm not sleeping in, I don't know where, I have to sleep.
No, they literally went through my clothes, my one bag, because you can only have one duffel bag, like you would as a parent, like checking your kids' stuff. And it dawned on me like, oh, wait, this is for real. And then when we got to Tacoma, I've never been to Tacoma, Washington before. When we got there and we landed and the production crew looked at me and said, okay, where are we off to next? I was like, oh, wait a minute. It's happening for real. And I got extremely overwhelmed, to be honest. And the first thing I could think of was, let me do what I know to do. Let me be exactly who I am, because that's the whole point of doing this.
Right.
And they kept saying to me, what business idea do you have? I'm like, I don't know. I literally don't even know what community I'm going into. That's actually the problem. We keep creating in communities that we're not collaborating with,
Right.
and we don't care how we're impacting them.
Right.
I'm actually going to wait till I'm in a community to see what they need.
But that was the smartest thing to do.
It was.
And then when you noticed, I need something to eat, and that resonated with me because I don't eat meat. I don't eat fast food.
And you have beautiful skin, by the way, girl.
Thank you. So I need something healthy. I need something that's clean.
Yeah.
And you can't find that everywhere. Not, if you have to eat fast food, healthy options are scarce.
And let me tell you what was even more scarce, just anything open. So Tacoma, Washington was under the state of Washington was under a very different rule in the height of, I went in the height of COVID and filmed.
Wow.
It was not what we were experiencing here in Miami and in Florida in general. You were not allowed to walk around. They had so many restrictions. Nothing was opened, and you could not use cash there. You could not use cash in Tacoma, Washington. Anything that happened to be open limitedly, you had to use a credit card.
And you didn't have one?
I did not have one. And, I thought about buying one of those like Walmart, like prepaid, but charged you $7, and I was like, I can't lose $7 right now.
Right, because you have $100.
And so here's the interesting story, and this is why I did this show, is because I wanted to teach a collaborative effort. I wanted to teach a conscious capital. And most importantly, I wanted to teach people that we can rely on our communities. Like, we have to use each other, support each other, and talk to each other.
So now, with your venture capital business,
It's Rain Ventures.
Rain Ventures, you're investing in a business in my district, in District 5, correct?
Yes, so Letterhead, we are the lead investor in that. There was some type of like pitch competition that I was a judge for. And of all the companies, Letterhead just really stood out to me. And at the early stage of investing, it's really the team. Yes, of course, you have to do like the regular due diligence,
Right.
you know, all these things. But you're really, at the end of the day, you're investing in people. And so the way I built Rain Ventures is the way I built my label with my ex-husband, which is we signed fewer artists for platinum potential.
Right.
More hands-on approach. Very, very supportive.
Da-na-na-na-na-na. That's one of my favorite songs. That's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, that was a great time in music too. It was very like that. We changed
Yes.
radio at that time with
Yes.
the Justin and the Nelly music. But so that's how we mimicked Rain Ventures. Do fewer investments. We only do 20 investments per fund.
Oh, okay.
We put up a bumper system. We're hands-on. We give access to network resources. We go to meetings with them. I take a board seat. We build the company out with the founding team. And so we have seen that that is completely the way you should do things. You know,
And investing in someone's dream, that is a game changer because
It
they're
is.
going to give everything.
It is.
Well, I want to do not me. I have to give all the credit to my brother who came up with the title for this. It's Spitfire.
okay, brother.
Okay, so I have 5 questions that I'm going to ask you.
Oh, goodness.
5
Hopefully ones
questions.
that I can answer.
5 questions that I'm going to ask you, and to see, this is going to have our audience get to know you a little better.
Okay,
What's
perfect.
important to you. Okay, the first one. What is the most dangerous thing you do?
Invest.
Okay, yes. What's your theme song?
My theme song would be Nas's The World Is Ours. The
Good
World
one.
Is Yours, yeah.
Good one. What's your favorite book?
The Emerald Tablets.
The Emerald Tablets. Okay, I'm going to check that out.
Took me 9 months to read that book.
Okay.
It's a very ancient old Sumerian script and text.
Okay, I'm going to check that out. Now, if you could have dinner with anyone, living or dead, who would you have dinner with?
My mom, she's alive, but I don't get to spend a lot of time with my mother. And she, like your mother, she misses out. I'm her oldest. I'm her baby, I would eat with my mom.
Okay. And what is your favorite food?
All food. I'm vegetarian, but I am I live on a farm here in Miami. And so
I just met yesterday during Constituent Tuesday a young man and a woman who have a farm in Liberty City.
Oh,
They
okay.
are growing kale and broccoli and what else did she? Tomatoes. And they're doing it in the inner city, and they're getting kids to come and
That's right.
learn
Community
and put your
gardens, I love it.
put your hands in the dirt. And I'm so proud to be the representative for that area and the
Yes.
great things that we are doing. And I want to thank you for being my first guest on the Premier Kingdom podcast.
No, thank you for having me, and congratulations again.
Thank
And,
you.
This is all about community. And anyone who takes on that task of leadership of a community is a very special person. So thank you
Thank
for your
you.
service.
Now, you mentioned to me that you have a favorite quote.
I do.
What is
I
your
do.
favorite quote?
You know,
Share it with our audience.
This quote, I want people to really, really hear this quote. It's one of my favorite quotes by Maya Angelou. And it's, "We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty. It's about the process.
It is about the process.
Be present for the process.
It is.
It's
That's amazing.
Okay.
That is a beautiful quote because
It's for all of us, though, right? To remind
right.
ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And I want to say thank you to the folks at the Historic Lyric Theater, which is where we are.
This is the first time I've ever been inside. It's very emotional for me, just even thinking about Malcolm X coming here and the Muhammad Ali and all the greats who got to stay in this.
And isn't it beautiful?
It's gorgeous. It's
beautiful.
so beautiful. The engravings, the mural, it's just gorgeous.
I just thought it was the most appropriate place
to
have this podcast. And I'm so happy this also is a part of my district, Overtown. I cover Overtown, Wynwood, Liberty City, Midtown, and the Upper East Side, and Little Haiti. It's
we
such
do our
a diverse
annual
district.
Event for Rain Ventures at Red Rooster every year.
Oh, isn't that amazing? That and that we are creating Overtown again, that we're bringing entertainment and food and culture back into this community, and I love it.
It's a beautiful community. It truly is.
Well, I'm going to tell you my Spitfire answers to the questions.
Yes.
Okay.
Would you like me to ask them to you so you don't have to look at them?
Let's see if you can read my handwriting.
Yes, I will read it. Okay. The most dangerous thing you do?
The most dangerous thing I do is yoga poses in the shower.
Okay, that's dangerous.
It is.
Okay.
That's the most dangerous thing.
You need to stop that.
I do balancing poses in the shower.
Okay, you challenge yourself. Okay.
I do.
What's your theme song?
Well, my theme song depends on where I am in my life. During the campaign, it was Tasha Cobb's You Know My Name.
Oh, I love that song.
And it took me through sometimes. As you know, campaigns can be a little bloody. And I would listen to that song every day. I would listen to that song every day. And it would inspire me and it would lift me up.
Wow.
And I can go on my way.
That's a beautiful, beautiful song. Okay, what's your favorite book?
My favorite book is Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers.
I'll have to. What is that about?
It is the most beautiful story you will ever read.
Really? Okay, I'm gonna have to get that.
Your mother is gonna love it too.
Okay, I'm gonna have to get that. Redeeming Love. Okay, who would you have dinner with, living or have passed on?
I would have dinner with my grandmother, my maternal grandmother. Aww. She died before I got a chance to know her. And my mom said she was so in love with me. And I feel like her spirit is always with me. My grandmother was born on the Wakapow Reservation. I was born in Guyana. And I would love to have a conversation with her.
Wow, that's beautiful. Okay, so we have one more. What's your favorite food?
My favorite food is anything curry that my mom makes.
Oh, yes.
Anything curry. So, again, thank you. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for making this so easy for me.
I'm very, very humbled, and I'm very, very excited for you.
Thank you. So, that's a wrap, everyone. This is the first episode of the Kingdom Podcast. Look forward to monthly installments with interesting guests such as Monique. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
That's a wrap, everyone.